Hello everyone, my name is Azuruka Yamamoto and today I am playing World of Warships. And in particular I am playing the USS Benham. Now the Benham is an American destroyer, a tier 9 reward destroyer, of which we're currently seeing what it would look like if it were completely flooded. I don't know, sometimes this game renders a bit weird. Yeah, it's an American destroyer, tier 9, and the American destroyers are generally known for being specifically good at gunning, so using their guns to shoot down other destroyers or using long-range gunnery to shoot at battleships and stuff like that. Then in addition they have fairly good torpedoes, but it's definitely not their main weapon. Whereas if you look for instance at the Japanese destroyers, the traditional Japanese destroyers, the Yogumo, Kagero, Shimakaze, Fubuki, stuff like that, they tend to really have much better torpedoes. And they also generally are a bit stealthier than the American destroyers. Now this thing is actually not the stealthiest destroyer, even for an American one. It's slightly less stealthy than the Fletcher, the tier 9 standard American destroyer. And it's also, it's not that good at the typical gunning of American destroyers. Instead, what it is very good at is using its torpedoes. And that's not so much because the torpedoes themselves are that great. They are fairly good torpedoes. They are fast, pretty long ranged, 10.5 kilometers. The damage isn't that high, which we'll see later on. But the main feature of this ship is what we can see here. You got a whole lot of them. And not only that, they also reload insanely quickly, because in 10 seconds we'll have a new set ready. So that's 2 times 4 torpedoes on each side, reloading in roughly 65 seconds, so slightly over a minute. Now it's not uncommon to drop over 150 torpedoes over the course of a battle in this ship, and that's a lot. That doesn't mean every single one of them will hit, of course. It will be quite insane. But every now and then one hits, it already adds up fairly quickly, even in spite of the pretty mediocre damage of these torpedoes. So let's have a look if we can see what these torpedoes will be doing. Oh, that's not necessarily what I was asking for. So these torpedoes are going for this Friedrich der Große. They seem pretty nicely on track. Now of course a Friedrich might have its hydroacoustic running, but I'm not sure if he would have that right now. He doesn't seem to be steering at all. So there probably one torpedo hit. Boom. Yeah. I'm having some troubles doing this view like this, but and only one more. But well, still 20,000 damage by just the torpedoes, and then some flooding damage. And as we can see, the torpedoes are already ready, so we can drop on this Georgia. I'm pretty much aiming for this section right now. So if the Georgia backs up, these torpedoes will hit, and otherwise they might even continue and hit something behind there, but that would depend on if anything is behind there. It seems the Georgia is backing up a bit faster than I hoped. But what's nice is that the Friedrich der Grosse actually came in to catch another torpedo. So let's have a look at what our ship is doing. One thing that's very particular about this ship is that you basically have to switch between sides every time you drop, and that's pretty often. So you keep making circles or going back and forth in smoke screens, stuff like that. And it's fairly easy to get used to, but it feels a bit wonky every now and then. It can feel really forced. But it pays off in this ship, so well, then you better do it, right? So right now, this flank is pretty much clear. We still have the Georgia, but the Georgia is pretty low HP as we hit them already a couple of times. I don't want to face off with the Yugumo, and there's plenty of other ships around, and the Ibuki is too far away to go chase. So what I want to do now is go over to this fleet basically, or well, it depends a bit on where the enemy Benham is. We might also go for the Musashi, so let's have a look. A bit of cruising to do, but in the meantime we can have a look over there, so just to see what's all going on there. Oh, I thought these ships would be rendered now, but they aren't. There they are. So those are all pretty high HP targets. That's nice. And there's only the Alaska with radar there. Now the Brindisi would be quite painful to run into due to its SAP shells. Of course, I also don't really want to meet up with the Benham, since the Benham would be, yeah. I think the Benham, if he's, I just don't want to get into a gunfight with him. Also, the enemy Benham seems to have Alexander Ovechkin as a commander, because he's actually got more HP than me, but only slightly, so that would mean that he's got the better version of survivability expert. And that gives him a slight edge, but he's already been damaged somewhat, so at this point I would have more HP. But what I'm currently interested in is not the Benham, it would be the Musashi. So, dropping some nice torpedoes on the Musashi. But unfortunately the Benham shows up here. Yeah, this hurts. This hurts quite a lot already, and then the Musashi is also joining in to shoot. But in return I'm hitting 4 torpedoes for 41,000 damage on the Musashi, so that's, can't complain. Then we drop some more torpedoes. Fortunately though, I'm still spotted because I'm too close to the Musashi and he spots me. And we also get a flooding on the Musashi, which is pretty nice, and 6 torpedo hits, so yeah, that's massive damage right there. And as we can hear, there's already new torpedoes ready. Now obviously we won't be using those on the Musashi, because after all he's going behind the island, that wouldn't work. So, moving on. Basically right now what I'd like to do is see if I can get torpedoes on maybe the Iowa or the Alaska Soyuz. But I really don't want to run into the Black or the Benham, because that would just mean that I'd be dead. So doing a bit of evasive maneuvering here for those torpedoes. Now clearly our Kitagaze is spotted, but I'm not, and yeah, I don't quite know why that is, but I won't complain. Perhaps it's because the Alaska used this radar. Safe from the torpedoes there, and now we can drop some more torpedoes on the enemy fleet. They're just in the general direction really of the enemy. Iowa already died, so I won't be able to hit him. Alaska isn't that far away, and I already realized this when I was dropping, but yeah. Gotta try, right? And just send in some more. These are a fair bit closer, they are over 2 kilometers closer. Now I only managed to drop one set here and then the enemy Benham shot me. Now if we take a look at where these torpedoes are going, then we can just see that they're going nicely towards this Alaska. On the Soyuz, that's actually also a very close call there. It's one hit on the Alaska and the second one is actually out of range. It's really a shame. Flooding doesn't stick either, but then we did send another set. And he seems to be dodging the ones coming in from the right. So, bam, massive 3 hits, 215,000 damage right there. Now yeah, our team has basically won this. The Soyuz is going down, and well, Benham is actually spotted. Of course, if the enemy Benham would get a bit of chance here, if he'd have enough time, he will be able to torpedo probably the Iowa, the Soyuz, Friedrich der Große, but that just takes time in such a situation. So I think he may have actually hit the Iowa before. Wouldn't be quite sure. But yeah, stunning result here. 18 torpedo hits, only 42 gun hits. So yeah, I'd say interesting battle. And ooh, the Iowa gets hit here. Very fun battle also to play. And yeah, the result is just really quite amazing. Yeah, so of course with this Benham you have to get a bit lucky in order to do such amount of damage, over 100,000 damage to the enemy Musashi. But if you get in the right spot, then this thing is really amazing. And while the standard American destroyers, particularly the Fletcher, which is genuinely one of my favorite ships in the game, probably isn't able to do this much damage with torpedoes alone. It's very good at using its torpedoes and it's far better at using its guns. So if you like what you see here, then going for the Fletcher would not be a bad plan, because even though it plays really differently, it's a tremendously good ship. Yeah, so that's the replay for today, and see you guys next time.